Hello students, how are you all? I hope everyone is doing well in your studies. Today I am going to brief you about the topic cardiac cycle. So let us start with our topic cardiac cycle. What is cardiac cycle? Cardiac cycle is sequence of coordinated activity taking place in the heart during each beat, or it is complete contraction and relaxation of heart. It is complete contraction and relaxation of heart or atria and ventricle. Clear to you? What is cardiac cycle? It is sequence of coordinated activity. That means what all activity that occur in the heart, it occur in a particular sequence and in a coordinated way. And what activity is going to take place? That is contraction and relaxation of atria and ventricle. This is we are going to study under the topic cardiac cycle. So the main events of the cardiac cycle are atrial systole, that means contraction of atria, then atrial diastole, that means relaxation of atria. Next is ventricular systole, that means contraction of ventricle, and next is ventricular diastole, that means relaxation of ventricle. The time duration for the cardiac cycle is 0.8 second. How this 0.8 second is calculated? The heart beats 72 times in 60 seconds. So for beating of one time, how much time it will take? It will take 60 divided by 72. It will be equals to 0.8 second. And then this 0.8 second, what all activities been taken place? That is called as cardiac cycle. What activity takes place? Atria contract, that is 0.1 second. Then atria will relax for 0.7 seconds. Like you all study for 0.1 second and relax for 0.7 second. Next is ventricular systole, that means contraction of ventricle for 0.3 second, and after that relaxation of ventricle for 0.5 seconds. Next, we are going to see these all events. First was atrial systole. It occurred for 0.1 second. After atrial systole, that means after contraction of atria, now atria will relax. Atria will relax for 0.7 second. When this atrial systole happened, just after the atrial systole, ventricle systole also occurs. Ventricle systole also occurs. When ventricle systole occurs, the pressure in the ventricle is more and the pressure in the atria is less. Due to this difference of pressure, the blood tries to give backflow. The blood tries to backflow. Like you all also move from a high pressure zone to a low pressure zone. Like the blood will also move from high pressure zone to low pressure zone, and to prevent this backflow, the valve will get closed. And which valve get closed? Which valve get closed? Cuspid valve get closed, and due to the closure of cuspid valve, the first heart sound arises. After the contraction of ventricle, now ventricle will relax. Now ventricle will relax. It is called ventricular diastole. When the ventricle start to relax, when ventricle will relax, now the pressure in the ventricle is less. When you all relax, the pressure is very less. So the ventricle is relaxing, the pressure in the ventricle is less, but blood is filled in the aorta, so pressure in the aorta is high. Due to this difference of the pressure, the blood again tries to backflow. To prevent this backflow, again the valve get closed. And which valve get closed? Semilunar valve get closed. Due to the closure of the semilunar valve, again the heart sound arises. Like when we close the door, the sound arises. So when this valve get closed, sound arises. This sound is second heart sound. Now ventricle is also relaxing. Atria was already relaxing. Now the atria and ventricle both are relaxing. So it is called joint diastole. When the two person open the account, it is called joint account. When two things relaxes, it is called joint diastole. So here atria is also relaxing and ventricle is also relaxing. Both are relaxing. It is called joint diastole and it occur for zero point 0.4 second. It occur for 0.4 second. You can see this cardiac cycle is of zero point 0.8 seconds. So half portion is 0.4 second. Here ventricle relaxes till here. But here the atrial systole occurs. So it is not calculated. This half area is for 0.4 second. It is called joint diastole. In this both atria and ventricle both relaxes. And during the joint diastole 70% of the blood or the 2/3 part of the blood get filled in the ventricle. As the pressure in the ventricle is very less, so blood will now move to less pressure zone due to the gravity and 70% of the blood in the ventricle is filled. What about the remaining 30% of the blood or the 1/3 part of the blood? That 1/3 part of the blood get filled during atrial systole. This atrial systole overlap with ventricular diastole, and when this atria contracted, the remaining 30% blood gets filled in the ventricle. I hope the cycle is clear to you. Now we are moving towards our heart sound. What is heart sound? We have studied two heart sound, that is first heart sound and second heart sound. When you go to the doctor puts a stethoscope in your heart and listen these sounds because these sounds are of great clinical significance. This sound, first heart sound, I have made a graph between pitch and time duration. In first heart sound, the time duration is more, but the pitch is less. In second heart sound, the pitch is more, but the time duration is less. First heart sound is lub and second heart sound is dub. Not like the movies, thug, 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 thug. It is lub, dub, lub, dub. Clear to you? Now some differences in between first heart sound and second heart sound. So the pitch in the first heart sound is less, whereas in second heart sound it is more. Time duration in the first heart sound is more, whereas in second heart sound it is less. The phase of the cardiac cycle, first heart sound arises at the start of ventricular systole and second heart sound arises at the start of ventricular diastole. Next, valve involved. First heart sound is due to the closure of cuspid valve and second heart sound it is due to the closure of semilunar valve. Now we are moving towards few important points. So the few important points, first one is end diastolic volume. What does it mean? End diastolic volume. The amount of blood that is filled in the ventricle at the end of the diastole, the amount of blood filled in the ventricle is called end diastolic volume and it is equals to 120 ml. It depends on the size of ventricle. When the size of ventricle is large, the end diastolic volume will be more. It also depends on the stroke volume. What is a stroke volume? Blood pumped by heart in each beat. When more blood is pumped, more blood get filled. Clear to you? Now, next important point is stroke volume. Amount of blood pumped by the ventricle during each beat. It is 70 ml. It is the amount of blood when your ventricle contracted. The 70 ml blood gets in your systemic circulation. That is your stroke volume. Next is end systolic volume. That means the amount of blood that is left in the ventricle after the systole. After the contraction of ventricle, some amount of blood get left in the ventricle. That is end systolic volume. How much amount of blood was filled earlier? That was 120 ml. How much blood got released? 70 ml. So how much is left? That will be 50 ml. So the formula is end systolic volume is equals to end diastolic volume minus stroke volume. That is 120 minus 70. It is equals to 50 ml. And it is always constant because it is a difference value. When this value increases, this value will also increase, and their difference will always remain constant. I hope it is clear to you. Next is cardiac output. What is cardiac output? The amount of blood pumped by the heart in 1 minute. What is your output? The amount of study you do in 1 year, that is your output. What is the function of heart? To pump the blood. So its output is how much blood it pumped in 1 minute. It will be heartbeat into stroke volume. Heartbeat is 72 times in 1 minute, and in one beat how much blood? 70 ml. So in 72 times, 72 multiplied by 70 ml is equals to 5000 ml, or 5 liter for a healthy person. This is a cardiac output. I hope this cardiac cycle is clear to you. Thank you everyone. Hope you have a good day and you study harder. Thank you so much.